I think you've definitely got a grasp on what's happening here, Joe, apart from being completely correct in every respect. Did I say correct? Incorrect. I'm feeling woozy today. I might sound like I'm not quite here. That's because I'm not quite here. Jimmy texts, Tory members voting for Liz Truss is a Labour's dream come true. Labour will have at least 10 years in power when they vote her in. Thank heavens they're so stupid, says Jimmy. I bet. Okay, you want me to bet? I betcha. I bet the Tories lose the next election, pivot on a sixpence and blame the Labour Party for absolutely everything that's wrong with the country that they have fashioned out of the last 12 years. 14 it will be then. The public will go, oh yeah, that's right, it's the Labour Party. And then the Tories will be straight back in. Anyone want to take that bet? 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC. It's 11:30. The news headlines with Tim Humphrey.
Leading Britain's conversation. LBC with Nick Abbot.
Are you trying to tell me that this is your act?
0345 6060 973. Matt texts, the future is bright. When the revenue on interest on the money that we are lending ourselves comes in, all of our problems will be solved. It's basic economics. Ask any city hedge fund. I most certainly will do nothing of the sort, Matt. Economics. Oh, that's interesting.
Boring.
Oh, couldn't be more dull. If it wasn't, if it wasn't about actual money, it would be really dull. Cumbran. Hello, Philip.
Hello, Nick. I've spoken to you in the past. Before I'd like to say what I'd like to say is the one person who I hold responsible for a lot of what has happened is David Cameron. And I don't know how that man can sleep at night. He possibly can because he was so wishy-washy. But if he hadn't have insisted on having the referendum for the European Union, I suspect we might not have been in the situation that we're in now. So I hold him a great deal responsible for what's happened over the past few years.
It's all your fault, David Cameron.
I think this is nonsense.
He thinks it's nonsense.
But coming on to the caller that said about Liberal Democrats in the Bath area, and I think you said wishy-washy or whatever.
I didn't say that. He said that. But it does sound like something I would say. Go on.
Anyway, I mean, I'm a Liberal Democrat, and I know that some people think of them as being wishy-washy, hippie-type people, but the point is the Liberal Democrats are the only real true European party left in this country. And they were the original ones, the Liberal Party, going back in the 50s, 60s, that wanted us to go into Europe. And Keir Starmer has now said...
So did the Tories.
Yeah, and as you know, Keir Starmer has said he's not going to take us back even into the single market, let alone into the EU. And, I mean, the ghost of Brexit is still haunting this country.
Always will, because the ruling party needs Brexit to not be fixed in order for them to have someone to blame the things that this party have caused. They will always want a war with Europe, some sort of friction going on, some intense discussions, some problem that they can blame on the French. That's what this is all about. Brexit will never be fixed. Not now, not ever, never.
You think so?
I do think so.
Where is this hatred of Europe come from?
It's not a hatred of Europe. It's just a hatred of others. People who do not walk, talk and squawk exactly like you do. It's hatred of the other.
Yeah, but I mean, I can't understand why people are still banging they're blaming the European Union. They're blaming there's this like isolationist. We're living in the past. I've said this before. We are living in the past. We are reliving the empire. We won the Second World War. Oh, great! I cannot understand why people are still showing. I use the word hatred. I got friends of mine who are Brexiteers, and they don't like the EU, and I just can't understand it.
They don't dislike the EU. They're just flailing around trying to find something or someone to blame for them not having the life that they dreamed of. That's basically what's happening here. We've all been persuaded to do something that is verifiably bad for this country for the benefit of, I would imagine, a handful of millionaires and billionaires who want an easier time avoiding tax, which is why we left the European Union, in my opinion.
I mean, I don't think they'd even want us back. I mean, I would really like us to go back in, but the way that we have treated it, I don't think they would want us back in there at the moment, because we're a laughing stock anyway,
Well, we've caused them a lot of problems. That's absolutely true. Yeah. All right. Thanks a lot, Philip. 0345 6060 973. Darius says, how many years of community service do you think that Bodger needs to repay his debt to society? Well, I don't know. Is flogging involved? Because that would certainly bring down the time if flogging was involved. Shane says the last thing the French need are boat loads of angry Brits trying to get across the channel. That's a good point. Yeah. Yeah, let them push us back out to sea. Exeter, hello, John.
Hello, Nick. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Excellent. Good to talk to you. I've been as dismayed as you have by what's going on with the Tory party. I can't quite believe it. I can't get my head around it.
No.
The other day, because I've known very little about Liz Truss in the past. So the other day I was watching that speech that you referred to earlier, where she was talking about British teas and apples and all that. And my missus was in the kitchen, and she's got no interest in politics whatsoever. And I said to her, come in here and look at this, just look at this speech. So she came into the living room, started looking at the speech. And after about 15 seconds of it, she looked at me and said, is she all right?
Well, I don't know. Let's think about that.
No.
Not by any standard definition of the phrase, no.
Absolutely. And imagine her shock and horror when I said she's most likely to be the next Prime Minister of the UK.
Yeah.
And then about half an hour later, because she then went back to peel some potatoes in the kitchen or whatever, about half an hour later I called her back in and I said, look at this guy. And there was Rishi Sunak giving an interview. And she looked at him and she said, who's that? And I said, he reminds me of that bloke. I said, I think he looks like the guy off the Inbetweeners, Will.
Right.
And she turned around to me and she said, yeah, he's a briefcase banker.
Is that what she said?
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's a matter between you and your pretend wife there, John. Thanks for that. 0345 6060 973. I don't know. I'm just going to go with it's his pretend wife. Sees her absolutely everywhere. Kath Tech, will dismay, desperation and anger be Liz Truss's three-word slogan? No. Her three-word slogan will be... That is a disgrace. Chris says, do you want more pork market opportunities with Beijing? Do you think it's a disgrace that we import 2/3 of our cheese? Do you want more guard dogs barking at drones in our prisons? Liz Truss is the PM for you, or would you prefer an ex-chancellor who held a green card to avoid tax, who doesn't know how to use a debit card? Rishi all the way. Where do they find these people, says Chris. Well, no idea. I don't know. The remainder bin? No idea. This is the best they've got? Seriously, these two are the best that the Conservative Party have. The absolute tip-toppermost among their ranks is those two. Paul Tex, I'm sure all these non-dom tax-avoiding multimillionaires who funded Brexit had our best interests at heart. No, not a single one of them. But they managed to get us dopes to vote for something that wasn't in our interests. So they must wake up laughing. I bet they can't quite believe how easy it was. Betty texts, if that Truss woman comes down here to Bognor, throwing her weight around with her silly voice, she better watch out if I see her in the streets, says Betty. Betty, calm down, dear.
Calm down.
Calm down. Betty. Ron says, you said that a large number of Conservative Party members are over 65 years old. They will vote for Truss because Truss is a surgical appliance and want to support a hernia, typically a padded belt, says Ron. That's the second one of those I've had on this show just today. No more hernia jokes, if that is indeed what that was. A joke, I mean. Exeter. Hello, John. John?
Hello.
Yes, John. Did I just speak to you?
Yeah, you just spoke to me. I'm on for the second time.
Well, you can't call twice. You can't even wait there waiting to get on twice. Thanks a lot, John. Appreciate it. You've delighted us enough. Let's have Farnham in Surrey. Hello, Matthew.
Hi, Nick. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Lovely. I love listening to your show. What I want to say, Nick, right, is I listen to LBC about 10 hours a day, probably something. TV, they're full of crap.
Mm-hmm.
And I get frustrated and annoyed, but sometimes I laugh and people phone up, backing up Tories. You know, people, the contest to DPM.
Right.
I get it, but I'm like, who are these people that vote for them? You know what I mean? And I'm like, all the things that they've done, and then I think back about when Corbyn was leader, all he got was demise and slanders from the press and the MSM, mainstream media. And I was like, the guy was telling the truth.
Well, when people say mainstream media, what they're actually talking about, I suspect, is the BBC. Whereas the people that gave Corbyn the worst time, they battered him more than any other person I can remember, ever.
100%, Nick, 100%.
And it was the offshore, non-dom, billionaire-owned Tory press. That's who they levelled their guns at him for two reasons. One, he was the leader of the Labour Party, so they didn't like him on that count. And two, he said at one point that if you became the Prime Minister, what would you do about the close concentration of newspaper titles in the hands of a very few number of people? And he said that he would look at that. And at that moment, the entire lot of them thought, we're going to have to stop this bloke. And they did.
I think that he scared them, Nick. You know, the billionaires and whatever, he scared them because he was going to tax them.
Well, he was going to ruin their business model, which is one of like an effective monopoly.
But I also want to say, Nick, right, I listen to your show all the time because I'm like, you and James O'Brien tell the truth. And then I listen to other presenters, I'm not going to name them,
mm-hmm.
and people who phone up and like, I want to backlist Truss and whatever, and I'm like, what the hell are they talking about? It's if the Tory party, they've done nothing wrong.
Yeah.
And yet people are still backing them. And I was like, it's a very confusing state because for democracy in this country, I think Johnson split the union. I really do. And for his lies and whatever. And, I watched PMQs the other day.
Painful.
And he's still standing up there and spouting. And I'm like, and I think Keir Starmer should challenge him more on Brexit. But he doesn't. No, but
I don't know. Keir Starmer seems to be frightened of causing a ruckus, frightened of actually making waves. He's just going to stand there an island of calm in this sea of despond, by which method he will eventually look better to the electorate, which I think is a pretty bold move. I think that perhaps it might be better if he actually told us what he was about, actually got stuck in a bit more.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. And Brexit, what is it, 66 and a bit years, and what have we achieved? Nothing. You still get immigrants are getting more and more across Channel. I don't blame them from fleeing from persecution and wars and whatever. But, as you said earlier, we're going to have hard borders. We've not got any hard borders.
No, it's worse now than when we were in, as far as the number of people coming here. I mean, that was the big lie, is that there's going to be millions and millions of people coming to this country from the European Union. Millions and millions and millions of people, and there's nothing we could do to stop it. And most of them are going to be from Turkey. That was the big lie. They're still lying about that. Amazing that they're still lying about that. Oh, no, we got that all right. That's completely correct. No, we could have had a veto. We didn't. It would just have taken us to say, no, Turkey can't join the European Union. Oh, no, that wasn't correct. It is correct. Sitting in TV studios being presented with the actual truth and still denying that it's true. Amazing. The nerve of these people. And we bought it. Just enough of us bought it. We bought all the lies and the fantasy. And that, as I think, that informs, I've said this before, I think that informs why people are still so, those that voted for Brexit are still so desperately keen on the idea and will defend it, even though it has brought them zero benefits so far. None at all. There's a ghostly hat stand whose entire purpose in life is to come up with a positive from Brexit.
I don't know anything.
And he still doesn't know anything. That's all he's got to do. Find a positive from Brexit, and he still doesn't know anything.
I don't know anything.
At all. So there aren't any benefits of Brexit. We know that. It's only down. And because of that, because people put their... I think it's loss of face and loss of hope. They don't want to lose face because it's embarrassing. It would be admitting that you've been had, and you will feel foolish. And you don't want to lose hope because, what have you got without hope? And so it's like all we've got to do is we've got to stick to it. And eventually it will come good. And we will get those promised lands of grassy uplands. And we will get more money. And everything that they promised us will come true. It's like believing in a fairy tale. Well, bad news is Snow White's dead. Sorry, kids. Spoiler alert.
Warning, warning.
0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Snow White's just fine.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
And remember, darling, I don't work before 10 in the morning and never after 4:30 in the afternoon.
Those are my strict rules. Jar tweets, Rishi is the only genuine candidate. Genuinely what? Richard says, if people think that the present travel to the EU problems are bad, just wait until the ETIAS regs come into force next May. You'll be asked to show a bank statement showing a 3-month balance of $3,000, a return ticket, great if you're touring and you don't know your return date. ETIAS, European Travel Information and Authorization System, a new proposal for a border control system made by the European Commission. Oh, well, we don't like that. I mentioned that Simon Calder talked about, what is the actual problem for, getting in and out of the country. Because it seems to be an issue since we voted for the B word. Now, keep in mind that Simon Calder is an expert. He says pure Brexit took effect at 11 p.m. British time on the 31st of December 2020. So why should the decision to leave the European Union suddenly be affecting travellers who want to return to the EU, albeit temporarily, on holiday? Because this is the first real peak weekend for cross-channel travellers from Dover since the Brexit transition phase ended. And then he goes on to explain why the last couple of years, we're up to our eyeballs in COVID, and then there was you can go to this country, but you can't go to that country, and then France changes its rules on getting vaccinated and so on. So the traffic over the border, back and forth, quite small until just now. This is the peak weekend. Schools have just broken up. It's the start of the summer holiday. Everybody wants to leave. And the results were, as you saw today. Can you leave?
No.
No, you must queue forever. Only now are we able to see clearly the results of the choice that we made in the 2016 EU referendum, says Simon Calder. As members of the European Union, we helped draw up the rules for third country nationals. In the withdrawal treaty, ministers asked for us to become subject to those rules. So this government ministers like wandering around going, well, I don't know why these rules are applying to us. The European Union is just being mean to us. They asked for us to be subject to these rules that we helped draw up. It's not like we didn't know about them. we devised them, for crying out loud. He says that's why hundreds of thousands of passengers flying to Greece, Spain and Italy will have to spend time queuing up to have their passports stamped. At the main channel port, though, immigration controls take place before leaving the UK. Police aux frontières are deployed at Dover to check the passports of British holidaymakers before they board ferries to Calais and Dunkirk. Anyone who left the country in this manner before the 1st of January 2021 will know that the checks were almost always cursory. Someone in the car would hold up passports and the uninterested official would wave the vehicle through. They have to be interested now, though. As the guardians of the EU frontier, they are obliged to check every single passport and stamp it with the day of departure to France. This is necessary so that officials can ensure travellers do not exceed the 90-day maximum stay in any 180 days, another law that we chose to apply to ourselves. When the government says that the EU is being unnecessarily strict in their application of these laws, we chose to apply these laws to ourselves, laws that we wrote. It's not a surprise. They knew about this all the time. They are, in fact, giving us misinformation. Liar! He says the time taken for each car has increased from a few seconds to a couple of minutes, leading to queues growing with alarming speed. More staff will be brought in, and by early next week the queues will begin to subside. But by then, yet more damage will have been done to passenger confidence as well as the inbound tourism industry. French, Belgian, Dutch and German holidaymakers will note the chaos filling their screens from Dover and perhaps reconsider the decision to take the family in the car to the UK. Wow, you'd have to be off your chump to do that. They'd have to be off their Belgian chumps to do that. He says they have instant access, of course, to the EU. Would you want to line up on the A2 and the A20 for hours along with the rest of us? If you could just go anywhere you blooming well liked in Europe and just get waved through instantaneously? He says at least as British holidaymakers stew in their cars, they may be able to contemplate the blue passport that was presented to us as a Brexit benefit. Even though EU members could happily diverge from the burgundy European norm at any time they wished. There was another giant lie. I mean, you know that though, right? I mean, everybody knows that was a lie. But they lie and they lie and they lie. Oh, we must get our blue passports back, and only by leaving the European Union can we get our blue passports back, as though anybody cares about that. And then when they're caught out on the lie, they do one of two things. They either just dismiss it as though it never happened and talk about something else, or they double down on the lie. They say, oh, that's absolutely the case, that we could not have our precious blue passports if we were still in the evil European Union. And they get away with it over and over and over again. Even though EU members could happily diverge from the burgundy European norm at any time they wish, says Simon Calder, and the resorts of East Kent may themselves earn a brief Brexit dividend from diverted holidaymakers. Yeah, if people peeing in your hedge can be described as a benefit. But, you know, that's Simon Calder, a travel expert for decades and one of the foremost commentators on the travel trade. So what does he know about it? Compared to those who have done their own research on Facebook, and are sure that it's the EU being mean to us because they are jealous of our sovereignty. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. I still haven't gone through who might be back. He's barely even left, but he might be back.
This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbott.
Okie dokie. And I can't stand him.
Matt texts, it's got nothing to do with Rishi Sunak's race. What are they on about? They'll vote for Liz Truss as she will cut taxes and public services, hurting those of us less well off. Yeah, I think that's about right, yeah. Who's got the policies that will hurt the less well off the most, are what Conservative Party members are thinking. 76% of whom are Leave voters, 63% male, 39% over 65, 56% live in London and the South East, and 95% are white and British, and 100% of them are not representative of anybody other than themselves. And yet that tiny number of harumphing old geezers are going to be deciding the direction of this country. I am stunned. I am stunned. New Malden, Ahmed. Ahmed. An ecstasy of fumbling. Yes, Ahmed. Too late. Let's try Northampton. Richard. Is this 2 in a row on the Nicky Abbott Show? Richard.
Hey.
There
Hi,
you are.
Nick.
There you are.
So, Nick, I'm from Hungary, and I'm a bit miserable, let's say.
You're a bit miserable.
Stop whining.
Yes. Yeah. Because of the last 12 years in Hungary, Orban and this government, and the last 12 years here.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm here in England from since 2010. But I was never interested in politics until Brexit. And at the moment, how I can see the situation, I love England and I love the UK. But if Liz Truss will be the next Prime Minister, then I'm afraid that things will go bad even worse.
Even worse, yeah.
Yes, than they are now. So I think maybe there's a lot of ifs, but let's say if Scotland leaves Great Britain and it becomes Little Britain, I think my best bet is to move to Scotland. To be honest, I mean, if they can rejoin to the European Union,
yeah,
then I definitely think that's a better place to live.
Well, where are you going to choose to live there, Richard?
I don't know at the moment. I mean, I'm a lorry driver, so hopefully I can get a job and I can deliver frozen turkeys and toilet papers.
Yeah, that sounds great. But you should know that in Glasgow it never stops raining. And
I know.
And in Edinburgh, it's always very cold.
That's well. I think I can cope with it.
You can cope with it.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I always listen to your show. Not always, most of the times.
Yeah.
And I know all of these things about the weather, but even with the weather, I think it's just. I don't know. I don't know what to expect. Yeah.
You just can't stand it anymore.
Not really. I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens in 2023 October, I guess. The Scottish independence referendum. What happens then?
Maybe. Yeah.
We'll see.
All right. Keep your chin up there, Richard. It might never. Oh no, that's right. It already has. Thanks a lot, mate. 0345 6060 973. Stephen says, Did you see the outtakes from the former President Walnut Whitwig attempting to denounce the Capitol Hill riots? He struggled with the word yesterday. Totally hard word for me, he said. But I thought he knew words, says Stephen.
I'm very highly educated. I know words. I have the best words.
Yeah, none of which are yesterday, which he has a lot of trouble with. I did see that. Yeah. He ain't going nowhere. He's going to be back. Just like Bodger's going to be back. Did you hear what little scheme they've dreamt up? God, I'll get to that in a minute. It is painful. I can't believe that so quickly after he hasn't even left yet, and already we're thinking, well, it wasn't so bad. It wasn't so bad. I mean, 200,000 people died, and the government was less a collection of leaders and more like a smash and grab raid. And absolutely every part of the way in which we are defended from those that seek to do evil has been whittled away. It's still, well, I don't know. At least it wasn't Liz Truss or Fishy Sunak. Stephen texts, no, read that. John says, I think the question to ask the country right now is, how are you coping with the benefits of Brexit? I checked the government document and 3 of the benefits were genuinely blue passports, imperial measures and crowns on pint glasses. I despair, says John. Well, they haven't come up with anything else.
I don't know anything.
Asked whether he knows anything other than those 3, he said...
My name's Dominic Raab.
Oh.
And I'm a Tory.
And I'm a Tory, yeah, close. Close, but no cigar. Yeah, Smug doesn't know anything. He's been looking into it. He farmed out his job to the general public, and they don't know. They don't know anything either. What a way to run a country, eh?
Dreadful.
0345 6060 973. In Edinburgh, Marion.
Oh, hi, Nick.
Marion.
The original thing I said has been slightly changed because of all those things that you were just talking about. I'll just say Rishi and Liz. Christ, no. Mm-hmm. What I was going to ask you though is somebody said either on a text or a call about the mainstream media, and you said you mean the BBC. I think there's a massive bit of talking you could do about the whole lot of it with the Mail and the Times and stuff, and I don't know that everyone knows about it. Seriously, I spoke to my dad today, and I love my dad dearly, and I think I'm quite intelligent, but I don't think he realises the manipulation that is happening slowly. Well, it's not just to be...
Yeah. Ask yourself this question. Do billionaires' interests coincide with our own? No, they don't.
No, they don't.
No, they don't.
Yeah, no, it was just the because you said about the BBC, and I think they're a bit rubbish because they've kind of they've done the whole we need to do a balance thing to the point of making everything a little bit silly, but they're not the worst. The worst are the ones with the billionaires, and I just think a lot of people that aren't so engaged with politics just turn on a bit of news or see a bit of newspaper, and they just take that in, and that's their information, inverted commas.
Yeah.
You know?
If you only read one newspaper source, it's quite likely that you are not getting the full picture. It's quite likely that you are being sold misinformation.
So how do we fix this?
Look at least 2 or 3 newspaper sources.
No, how do we get the other people to fix it? I fix this, you fix this. Right. How do we get the other people to fix this?
How do we get them to fix themselves?
Okay, that's good.
I don't know. Better education from primary level up? Because
I don't think it's that. I know some very well-educated people that are just stuck in a thing. I don't know how to get them out of their bubbles.
Right.
Okay. It's really unfair of me to ask you to solve all these problems.
Well, no, that's why I'm here. I'm here to help, Marion. But I don't know the answer to that question. I think that partly it is education.
I love the poorly educated.
That's why he said that. He loves the poorly educated because they're dumb enough to vote for him.
I love the poorly educated.
When somebody tells you who they are, believe them. He loves the poorly educated. And the poorly educated going, woo! He loves us. Yep, I don't know the answer to that, Marion. How would you answer? How would you answer How would you answer your question?
I've tried to talk to people and give them some examples of things, but they mostly just get angry.
Yeah.
So I kind of given up. So I don't know.
Okay, well, we appreciate your effort.
Thank you.
But now you've given up. All right, thanks a lot, Marion. Yeah, you can metaphorically grab them by the lapels and shake some sense into them, metaphorically speaking. But it probably won't do any good. It'll probably just annoy them. People don't want to hear something that is contrary to the decision they've already made. And it's again down to loss of face. If somebody explains to you that what you've been saying for a while is wrong, people will get very annoyed about that because it makes them look like an idiot. Nobody wants to look like an idiot. Which is why I'm not on camera right now. Paddy texts, turncoat Lizzie Truss sold her soul to ERG fools. Okay. Yeah. Dave says, the Dover problem had nothing to do with Brexit. The staff were coming on an early train through the tunnel, but a technical fault stopped it. Dave, the only reason there was a problem at Dover was because of Brexit. Oh, for crying out loud. Hello? Is this thing on? Oi. 0345 6060 973. See, that's exactly what I'm talking about right there. Oh, there's nothing wrong with Brexit. Yeah. Okay. You've got your Brexit, Dave. Are you happy now?
No.
No, I bet you're not. Furiously angry, still curious. They get what they want and they're still upset. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. I still haven't done this thing about you-know-who coming back. I'll do it next. I promise. And that's not me selling you something that ain't true.
Liar! Leading Britain's conversation. LBC with Nick Abbott.
A big sack of monkey nuts.
That's what we're dealing with. A big sack of monkey nuts. Let's have a call in Greenford. Hello, Paul.
Hello, Nick. Yeah.
Paul.
As Liz Truss is a Remainer, and if she wins, will she repeal Brexit? And what about publications like The Spectator and Private Eye? Surely they give a good digest, on the events,
That's no and yes in that order.
Yeah.
Another satisfied customer. All right, thanks, Paul. 0345 6060 973. Golders Green. John. Oh, no, wait a minute. Hang on a minute. I haven't done it. Wait. Golders Green. John.
Nick, I've missed you.
Where have you been?
Last week.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the question is, where have you been?
I was here.
Well, you weren't on the radio.
I was.
Were you? Same time?
What, Friday, Saturday, Sunday? Is that what you're talking about?
I'm talking about the weekend.
Oh, no,
anyway,
no.
What were you up to? What were you up to on the Thursday?
I was up to, the first couple of days I was on the verge of complaining about it being too hot, but I didn't. Just for a moment there in the afternoon of, I think, Tuesday, when there was this little light breeze. And it dropped, and suddenly the heat seemed to intensify for about an hour, and even I said, "Gosh, it's hot." Other than that, I was loving it.
We all missed your wonderful wit as soon as these results came out. which would have been, great to hear. Anyway, what I wanted to say was that everyone's been going on about how unfair it is that 150, 200,000 people decide our next Prime Minister. But it's actually even worse than that, because 357 people have decided the final two. And what I feel would have been a lot better was for the 200,000 people to put forward two people to the Houses of Parliament for the MPs decide, because you very probably would have got two completely different people.
Yes. Yeah, you would. If you had left it to the harumphing old geezers who are members of the Conservative Party, then they would probably have chosen two harumphing old geezers.
Well, we don't know who they would have chosen, but they wouldn't have chosen these two.
I bet they would. I know who they would have chosen, and it would have been a write-in as well, not originally on the ballot sheet, but it would have been.
I'm a nutcase.
I bet they'd have voted for him.
Maybe, but it would have been a fairer system. You've got 350 people deciding the final two.
Yeah. Not better necessarily, but fairer.
Nigel Farage is not fit and proper to be in government.
Not fit and proper to be in government, from the horse's mouth. Speaking of which...
I'm immensely grateful to you for everything you've done in British politics over the last few years. I used to be an ardent Remainer. I voted Remain. I believed in the European project.
Mm-hmm.
I believed that staying in the European Union was the best thing for us. And then something happened, and something monumental happened. It completely changed my opinion on the whole situation.
What was that monumental thing, Mark?
I was kicked in the head by a horse.
Right, very good. Okay, fine. Thank you.
No, thank you. Appreciate it. 0345 6060 973. Did we deal with you, John?
Well, I'm still on the line.
I know you are, but I thought...
You have a habit of doing this,
I know.
I really don't mind anymore.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
You're very easy.
My apologies. All right, thanks a lot, mate. 0345 6060 973. You don't care? He's just hanging on the telephone like Blondie.
Rock and roll!
Greg texts, as opposed to hustings, why can't Fishy and the Brains... Fishy and the Brains... He says, sounds like a cartoon. Yeah, it does. Why can't Fishy and the Brains just have a game of chess, a bake-off, a chicken wing eating competition, perhaps a glass blowing or pottery contest? We may find out more about how useless they really are, says Greg. I like that idea. Apart from the chess bit.
Boring!
Nobody wants to see that. I'd like to see him doing a chicken wing eating competition. How about a Savoy eating competition? Hands up who wants to see that? Norwich, Leslie.
Hello, let me just turn my TV off.
Turn your TV off, Leslie.
I will do. 2 seconds. Yeah. Rishi Sunak.
Yeah.
He's gone up in my estimation.
From where to where?
He went up in my estimation yesterday.
No, but from where in your estimation to now? To where? Now?
He prevented our country from going into a further lockdown earlier this year. So
but
for that...
Right, but if you're standing next to the wall and you're measuring your height, he, in your estimation, went from where on your body?
It was pretty much sort of zero. I thought they were all a comedy act until I heard that Rishi had prevented our country from going into a further lockdown.
Right, so now he's up around your elbows, I'm saying? Something like that?
He's gone up very high in my estimation.
Even more than that, up to shoulder height. Wow. Yeah. Which, if he stood on a box, is pretty much where he'd reach.
Yeah, I guess so. It's my birthday today, by the way.
Wow. No one cares. I wish you a happy birthday and a happy new year. How old are you, Leslie? You don't have to tell me.
21 again.
You're 21 again. Well, you look fantastic, if you don't mind me saying that. Do you mind me saying that?
I don't mind.
No, of course not.
But
You just look you just look a little tired. That's all. Maybe you should try an early night. A little tired for 21. That's all I'm saying.
Anyway, bottom line is Rishi has gone up in my estimation.
Up in your estimation, shoulder height. Yes.
No, beyond shoulder height, because he prevented our country going in from lockdown. Because that is a thing which has trashed our economy.
Well, it's
big time.
Among the things that have trashed our economy.
Okay, among the things, but it is a contributor.
Right. So he's up around lip height now.
Disgusting. No, higher than lip height.
Higher than that. Wow.
Sky high.
He's kissing you on the forehead. You could wear him as a hat. He's so high.
Beyond the forehead.
Okay.
Beyond the forehead.
Beyond the forehead, right.
Sky high.
Right. Floating above you like a cloud. Yeah. All right. Thanks a lot, Leslie. 0345 6060 973. It's her birthday. What are the odds on that? It's about 1 in 365. Alex says, that man in the news said booths in exactly the way your clip says booze. Man in the news said booths. Well, booths does sound like booze. You just got to get that T in there. Just stick it in there somewhere. Booths. Booze. 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 Martin emails, Dear world-beating Nick, if Rishi Sunak's A goes overboard, he's sunk. That's one for the cruciverbalists. That's actually true. It's like a cryptic crossword. If Rishi Sunak's A goes overboard, he's sunk. Sunak without the A is sunk. Well, we all are. Never mind, eh? It's only life. Scott emails, whoever wins the Tory leader race, when they form a cabinet, they better appoint a minister for geography, because Fishy thinks Darlington is in Scotland, and Liz Brains thinks the Baltic and Black Sea are in the same area. Well, I would be surprised if it was any other way. I haven't done the... I keep saying I'm going to do it, and I keep not doing it. I am very bad at this job.
Correct.
I'll do it in a minute. In a minute. Brussels. Estelle. Estelle.
Hi. Hi, sorry. I was famously on mute. Hello again.
Hello again.
I just thought just to share with listeners. So, I'm obviously English. I'm living in Brussels. And I think when it comes to the whole cost of life crisis, everyone gets excited in the UK saying, well, here we don't pay for our petrol, we don't pay for our energy because our companies we work for pay for it for us. We are subsidised for our internet use, and we also get vouchers every day to pay for food. And so...
Well, no, wait a minute. Back up. Are you saying that you work for the European Union?
No, I work for a company. I work in private industry, but this is just standard here. So
hang on. In Belgium, the company you work for pays your petrol.
Yeah.
Why do they do that?
Well, it's just standard because they were helping everyone out and making sure that all the money we earn goes back into the economy, that it's not being, to some sort of oligarch somewhere. Right. It all goes back into the to my local shops that around me. So that's how it works. And we also get lunch vouchers, and we also get eco vouchers. So
what's an eco voucher?
So what happens is every year we get about €250. Which we can use to pay for whether it be, like, say, a wash machine that's eco-friendly, or just like today, I used it in a organic shop because they accept it also just to pay for my food. So I think we need to really rethink our economy in the UK, and there is another model out there that works.
So you don't pay for your petrol? You don't pay for your eco washing machine, and you don't pay for your orgasmic food.
Exactly what you said. Exactly right. And we also get every day lunch and vouchers. So we get an additional, I think it's like €10 per day, just to make sure that our food is covered. So that's just the norm here. And people would, I think it's in France, it's similar. And plus the fact my internet is subsidised. Nothing to do with COVID. It was already subsidised before that. So I think we need to really rethink our economy in the UK and not get banded up with these words like socialism, whatever. That is just the norm here in Belgium. That's just the norm.
Well, with luncheon vouchers, if you save up your luncheon vouchers, you could probably get a top secret executive massage in a suburban semi-detached. Think about it, Estelle.
Think about it. Okay, thank you. That's good advice.
All right. Everything you just said sounds dangerously communistic to me.
It does, but it works. It works because there is just a consensus, and this is across the board. I mean, you've got to remember, Belgium is not exactly, the most socialist of countries. You've got people in Flanders who want to break away and want to be independent, and there's certain, neo-fascist elements there. But they wouldn't even blink to say this is good. Everyone buys into it because it's just the standard here. So
exactly, yes. The way that we have our economy organised in this country by this regime is exactly how they have it in America and almost nowhere else on earth. And it's the credo is whoever wins gets everything, everybody else gets nothing. And that seems to be the way that things are organised. It's not trickle-down economics, it's trickle-up economics. It's trickle from the poor to the rich and then out of the country to sit on a screen in some island state that's got a Union Jack fluttering from the government building in an office block that curiously has 50,000 businesses registered there, but no actual workers.
Voila.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, Estelle. Thanks for the bad news. And as soon as you said that, my company is paying for the petrol, and they're paying for the washing machine, and they're paying for my lunch, and they're paying for my internet, and all of the rest of that stuff, and that's what is also enjoyed by most people in Belgium. People are putting their fingers in their ears and humming loudly to themselves to stop themselves being infected by socialism. Boo! We'd rather starve to death. Thanks a lot, Estelle. 0345 6060 973. Oh, look, it's just past 12:30 on LBC. The news headlines here with Tim Humphrey.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
Yeah! Dude!
William tweets, just the fact that Liz Truss has tweeted that she will hit the ground if she becomes PM is reassuring. I look forward to her promise, says William. Yeah, she said she's ready to hit the ground from day one. Okay, do it. I double dare you. I'm not sure which would come off better, her or the ground. Barnet. Hello, David.
Hello, yes, hi.
David.
Yes, well, I have to agree with you, but I'm pretty sure her thick skull would end up denting the ground personally, and that'd be another pointless pothole that the council has to deal with.
Yeah.
But no, seriously, I am a Conservative Party member.
Really?
And yes, really, I know, I'm one of those. But no, seriously, I think the system itself is broken. The fact that we've given our own MPs the power to whittle it down to the final two. Unfortunately, politicians simply can't be trusted with those sort of decisions, and which is why the public should be able to select the next Prime Minister, personally.
Yeah.
But,
I felt that a joke was coming here, but I don't know.
No.
You've run out of runway.
No, there's no joke coming here.
Right, okay.
I genuinely despise the choices that we have. I've been a loyal member and everything, but I won't be campaigning for either of the two.
Well, who would you prefer?
I was originally going to go for Kemi Badenoch. I thought she would be an interesting new force in the party.
Interesting?
Yeah.
Yeah, as in really scary. Yeah.
Well, no, I think, we need to give I would originally want to put not Liz Truss, Penny Mordaunt and then Kemi Badenoch in the final two. And whichever way the party wants to go down, that's their choice. And,
why did you come to that conclusion, though? Or are you just, rolling the dice and let's see what will happen if we put these people in charge?
Well, no, I feel like as a party, we're going to go down one or two ways. We're going to go down the Liberal route, or we're going to go down the populist route.
Well, we know which way they've gone.
I'm a nutcase.
Following Nige.
I think that's a possibility.
Yeah, well, it's not a possibility. It's actually happening right now.
Nigel Farage is not fit and proper to be in government.
He doesn't have to be in government. He's dictating where government goes. There's been a reverse takeover of the Conservative Party by the UKIP tendency.
Yes, and I think that's why it should be open to the wider party, because I don't think the party members themselves all necessarily are like the UKIP type. From what I've personally experienced,
95% white British, 56% live in London and the South East, 39% over 65, 63% male, 76% Leave voters. That sounds like kippers to me.
Well, that could be the truth, but I would say that before we've elected people like David Cameron, who wasn't by any means a sort of UKIP type. We are the party of Thatcher, Theresa May. So definitely not necessarily UKIP or UKIPers per se.
Right. So who are you going to vote for? No, neither of them.
I'm going to spoil my ballot.
Right. How are you going to do that?
Don't tell me. I can think of anything that I'd like to say right now.
Exactly, yeah.
Someone better, maybe?
Oh, you're going to put in someone better? Is anybody across your mind at all?
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Anyone at all?
Oh, God. Probably just... Let's write something like Anne Widdecombe. Bring Anne Widdecombe back.
Wow. Anne Widdecombe. You sound like a sensible person, David, until you actually get a hold of what it is you're saying. You want Anne Widdecombe back. That one. It's a no from me.
No.
No. Thanks a lot, mate. 0345 6060 973. Mark says if Liz becomes PM, her Secretary of State will be Bodge. I bet ya. Also, I'll give it 24 hours before Putin ups the ante if Liz becomes PM. Well, like one of Root and Tootin's mouthpieces said that they should nuke England but leave Scotland and Wales alone. And I don't know whether this is a controversial thing to say, but I agree with Vladimir Putin. 0345 6060 973. Chelsea, hello, Mark.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can.
Excellent. Yeah, I was just going to say very quickly, only in the UK would the one prominent cabinet minister who hit the headlines for one thing, which was encouraging members of the British public to go to a war zone where Her Majesty's government's own website advises against travel on grounds of danger.
Mm-hmm.
And regardless of mental and physical health, regardless of military training or lack of, to go and start shooting at Russian soldiers in this theatre of war on the front line. And people did, and they are now facing the death penalty. And she is the front runner in the betting to be the next Prime Minister of England. And I think this sums up everything that's gorgeous, delicious, and lovely about this place. And I've got to be honest with you, I've got to be very, very careful how I speak, because I've got a grandfather who's French. And I could be stripped of my British citizenship. Sorry, too much Côte d'Or there. But yes. I've been seduced by Sinn Féin. I wish all of these members in the House, almost all, in the other place, the Commons, I wish them plague. And I've been seduced by Sinn Féin. Democratically elected under Britannic democratic law. But my only problem with them is that they've put down the Armalite.
Right, okay. Just back off the wine just a bit. Have a water between glasses of wine. That's probably a good idea. Thanks a lot, Mark, for whatever that was. A little bit frightening. Mark says, sat on the M20 trying to get to the Eurotunnel. 7 miles in 6 hours and still 1 mile to go. Definitely not ready for Brexit, says Mark.
Whinging and whining and moaning.
Mike says, if Liz Truss wins, are we going to have to endure watching her put on lab coats and overalls and mucking in like Boris does when out and about?
Yes.
Yes, we will. Anything in order to distract the public's mind from what it is that is going on at any given moment. Of course she's going to do that. Let's have Newcastle. Hello, Mark.
Hello.
Mark.
How are you doing?
Good, thanks.
It's the first time I've been on this show, but I was listening to your lady before that lived in Belgium.
Yeah.
And had everything paid for. I was just sort of wondering who actually paid for it all?
Her employers.
Her employers. But she said it was a national thing.
She said that that's...
She said it was a normal thing that happens in Belgium.
Standard, is what she said.
So I'm a bit perplexed by that, because obviously I work in the UK, I work in Newcastle upon Tyne, and my employers, as good as they are, don't pay for everything.
No.
And I find it a little bit difficult to find anywhere that would pay for everything, as you alluded to before about the luncheon vouchers.
Well, it wasn't me alluding to it. She said it.
Well, I know that, but then you alluded to the lunch vouchers paying for certain things.
Yeah, certain awful things.
Disgusting.
Yeah, which we don't need to go into on this show.
Absolutely, we don't need to. But some of your callers are missing the point here, I think, about the actual Conservative deal going on. We need to miss that, and what we need to look at is the long-term, absolute, complex issue of energy.
The absolute complex issue of energy.
Yes, which is very, very straightforward, but it's been complicated by certain parties. Obviously, the new powers to be in Putin has now started releasing gas to Europe.
What are you talking about, Mark?
Well, Putin's opened up the lines for gas to the rest of Europe.
Rootin' Tootin has opened up the lines for gas to the rest of Europe.
Yes, he has.
My understanding was that he closed them off. But go on.
He had, but he's opened up recently.
Right.
Because obviously he needs a little bit of support.
He needs support?
Of course he does. From people who can damage him. He's now trying to negate that damage by trying to be nice to them.
Right. I have no idea what you're talking about. I suspect that you don't either, but, at least you used up a lot of time. Thanks, Mark. Is it just me?
No.
Apparently not. Marion says, following Julia's request to you regarding her uncle, could you tell Nick Abbott that he's the only person keeping me sane and smiling at the moment? Keep up the good work, Nick, says Marion. You people have got to stop telling me that I keep you sane. The amount of people that say that is alarming. But I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Lauren emails, if you are doing public announcements regarding Uncle's suitcases, can you please wish me a happy birthday? Says Lauren. No. Jules says, Liz Truss is AI. The robotic right arm got stuck pointing at Rishi in the last debate. That's why they pulled her out of Sky One. She needs a full reset.
Affirmative.
They need to turn her off and on again.
That is a disgrace.
Let's have Oxford. Dennis.
Hello, Nick.
Dennis.
Hi. Yes, I'd like to make just 2 quick points. The first one is Rishi Sunak and Liz Truss. They're no different than Johnson. When Johnson was sat there, Prime Minister's question time, many times, and the two of them sat at each side of him, and then nodding heads.
Nodding,
yeah. Nodding and nodding.
Bellowing to the opposite benches, waving their finger.
Yeah, and it's just a right joke. And second of all, they're saying that one of their achievements was they got Brexit done. they did not get it done.
No.
It is not complete.
No.
It is, if you look at Northern Ireland is threatening the Good Friday Agreement, and Biden has said we will not trade with UK if you interfered with it. And that is fact.
Brexit will never get done because it gives the government an excuse for anything that goes wrong on their watch, that it's the EU's fault. The EU are being mean to us because they're jealous of our sovereignty or some nonsense like that. They were never intending to get Brexit done. There is no done with Brexit. We've hobbled ourselves. We're the only country in the history of the planet that's actually erected borders between us and our nearest and biggest trading partner. You'd have to be off your mind to do that. So you have to look why we did it. And it wasn't for any of these things. It wasn't for the colour of our passports or any of this nonsense. It was so the people who funded the vote to leave were doing it for what reason? Why do billionaires shell out a lot of money for something? Almost always in order to stop paying taxes. That seems to be the only thing they're interested in.
You're spot on, Nick. You are so spot on. Why don't you go for leadership?
Yeah, okay, I'll do that right now.
Yes, with a sense of humour and a lot of common sense.
Well,
and also, I would like to say, for the people that are stuck in the queue because of Brexit, we can't blame France. Our MPs, we agreed that we have to show passports at controls and all that.
Yeah.
And we have to put up, but I do sympathise with the people who voted Remain, and they have to put up with this.
Right.
But the people that voted to get out of Europe, now I hope they're happy with themselves.
They're happy.
But Nick, they've got their sovereignty.
Yeah, they do, yeah.
And they're sat in their car, their French car maybe, and they're sat there and they're listening to this, and I wonder would they ever admit that what a fatal mistake, misled by the millionaires.
Yeah, no, because it's too much loss of face and loss of hope. I keep saying this, and I know that I'm right. That's the reason that they will never admit that they made a mistake. They will always defend Brexit because without it, it would be too much loss of face to admit that you've been had, and too much loss of hope to give up on all of these promises that they were given. I mean, they want the sunny uplands and all that jazz. They want more money. They want a better NHS. They want all of those things that they were promised. They want fewer foreigners around them. All of that stuff. And absolutely none of it's come to pass. Zero. But if you admit to yourself that you've been had, then all of that hope goes out the window as well. Like a better life. The prospect of a better life disappears if you admit that you've been had. And that's the problem. People will get very aggressive if you make them feel as though they've done a stupid thing. And B, they will get wildly aggressive if you take their imaginary good life away from them, or the prospect of a better life. Yeah, it's like they gave them a winning lottery ticket, and you're going to snatch that away from them? They think they've won. They just can't really see any of the positives yet, but it's coming if you just believe. All right, thanks, Dennis. 0345 6060 973. You can text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
With Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet @LBC. Text 84850.
Everything is going extremely well.
Kind of, yeah. Almost made it to the end of the show without making any major mistakes. Oh well, never mind. Better luck next time. David texts, the caller you had on about Corbyn was correct. He came close to winning in 2017, but even in 2019 he got more votes than Ed Miliband's Labour, more votes than Gordon Brown's Labour, more votes than Tony Blair's Labour the last time Labour won an election. Yeah, how quickly we forget. Is that actually completely correct in every respect? It sounds about right. Yeah, I do remember quizzing people about policies when Jeremy Corbyn was, right up there. And the popularity of his policies was great until you told them whose policies they were. And then they held their nose and made a quick dash to the exit. Tina says, I have noticed people calling Truss and Sunak by their first names. They are not your friends. Even though I couldn't give a flying fig who wins, but I find first name terms lessens their credibility, whatever that is. Whatever that is.
We have never had it so good.
She squeaked. No credibility there. No credibility to lessen. Calling politicians by their first name. I was thinking about when did that start? And it was probably Maggie Thatcher, wasn't it? I mean, people didn't call her Margaret, but they called her Maggie. As though she was your friend, not your friend. And then, famously Tony and Call Me Dave, which he actually said. He said, call me Dave.
I think this is nonsense.
It's okay, Dave. We don't need you at the moment, but we know where to find you if we do. You'll be in the shed where they keep the tools. And so on from there to here. Teresa. People didn't really used to say Teresa. Maybe it's just a difficult name. Teresa. 3 syllables for a start. But Boris, oh, blimey, vomiters, absolutely falling over themselves to call Boris Johnson Boris. I guess there is a certain satisfaction in the name, in the way it sort of sits in the mouth.
Disgusting.
Maybe I should rephrase that. The way Boris sits in the mouth. Because it starts with a B and ends in a S. That's just something that's comforting about that. People like saying it. Kath texts, I guess on the French side, the staffing is maybe the same as it was pre-Brexit. Why should they increase their staffing and costs just because the UK threw more work at them due to becoming a non-EU country? Unless, of course, the UK agree to meet increased French staffing costs. Yeah, exactly. We gave that entire continent a massive headache, and then we throw our toys out of the pram as soon as they don't do what we say. It's excruciating. It actually is. Painful. I mean, painful for me. Can you imagine how they feel? Welling. Greg.
And no, don't worry. And Hancock is a psycho. If you want to phone me back.
Greg. No, I do not want to phone you back. Put him down on my not to be phoned back list. as in ever. And strike him off my Christmas card list as well. And I'm absolutely, definitely and totally not buying him anything for his birthday. Other than that. That's all you get. Other than that, you get nothing. Paul says, do you remember when Donald Trump came to power and we all thought, wow, how did that happen? Is that the best they could do out of 300 million Americans? And now look at us. We've ended up with these 2 duds. I know. At the start of this psychedelic nightmare that we've all been living through for the past 12 years, you would have thought that you-know-who would be the most jaw-droppingly embarrassing person to have as the leader of the country.
I can be more presidential than anybody.
Yeah, it turns out that we found a way to go one worse.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
And now these 2 duds. Quite right, Paul. Deb says, brilliant, never heard of you before. Converted to LBC while recovering from COVID. Thank you so much, spot on. I'm laughing. I'm laughing. Not I am. Spot on, am laughing, says Deb, who has clearly been medicated up to her eyeballs. Amber says, I've been creating a COVID playlist after lustening to you. Lustening.
Disgusting.
After listening, perhaps? Listening to you will. That didn't make sense at all. Shall I read it again?
No.
I've been creating a COVID playlist. After listening to you, will. Full stop. Tell me what you want, ... by the Spice Girls. You are intellectually insightful, peppered with humour. Love the combo, says Amber. There's another one.
Booze.
Lay off the refreshments, kids. Hey, you know what? This show gets squirted up the internet as a podcast. We take the news and the ads out, which means it takes less time to listen to. You'll use less electricity. And by this time next year, you'll have saved enough money to put a down payment on a packet of butter. Ask for it by name on an internet near you, and Nick Abbot, The Whole Show. It's on Global Player. Global Play from your favourite app store. It's got all of the podcasts that we do. And the name, again, it's almost immediately this show is finished. Almost. It gets stuck up the internet as a podcast. Nick Abbot, The Whole Show. Try it. You might like it. Just do an internet search on my name, Nick Abbot, and all three will come apparent as though by magic. I will read all the emails that I didn't get around to reading tonight, of which there are 10 pages. God, how do these people get my number? That'll be when I come on tonight at 10. Richard Spur is here at 4, but first it's Clive Bull.
Nick, thank you. Coming up after the news at 1, we'll continue the conversation looking for Britain's next Prime Minister, Sunak versus Truss. Do either of them have the personality, the policies that the UK needs right now? What policies should they be talking about? Will it all be about Brexit again? Also, the latest from Washington, Steve Bannon found guilty. Evidence mounting that Trump deliberately stood back and didn't intervene in the Capitol riots, and Joe Biden has got COVID. Plus, we'll look at drugs and new Home Office proposals for dealing with drugs. A 3-strike system, will it work? And we'll take a look at the front pages as well. 0345 6060 973 is the number to call.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
Leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC.
From Global's newsroom at 1 o'clock, Boris Johnson says support for Ukraine from the UK will not waver regardless of who replaces him. A deal was struck yesterday to ease the blockade on food exports in Black Sea ports. Secretary-General of the UN, Antonio Guterres, thanked representatives from both sides of the conflict in taking part in diplomatic efforts.
You have overcome obstacles and put aside differences to pave the way for an initiative that will serve the common interests of all. Promoting the welfare of humanity has been the driving force of these talks.
A strike by more than 40,000 workers at Network Rail and 14 train operating companies will go ahead next Wednesday after talks failed to resolve a dispute over pay, jobs and conditions. The walkout by RMT members will bring many services across the country to a standstill and affect the Women's Euro 2022 semi-final in Milton Keynes. But there is better news for BA passengers. A strike by the airline staff this summer has been called off after 75% of GMB members backed a new pay deal. Travellers are being warned congestion in Dover could get worse over the weekend. The Port of Dover declared a critical incident yesterday as passengers endured 6-hour queues. France was blamed for not having enough border staff, although it says the hold-up was due to a technical issue under the Channel Tunnel. Drivers have been warned to bring plenty of food and water with them, as the delays are expected to last throughout the weekend.
So we've been in a queue for about 7.5 hours.
2.5 hours we've been waiting, just hanging about. You go 50 yards and you stop for 20 minutes. It's been ridiculous, really. 20 minutes, 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 it's been ridiculous, really.